Good evening, YouTube. This is Kayleen Stern coming at you with my regular Sunday night dinner. And I'm going to get that cord out of the way. And what I'm doing is something that was requested by a viewer. And that particular viewer is not in here, but I'm hoping that she will catch it later. And thanks for dropping in, Bedazzle. I hope you enjoy this. I'm sure others will be coming in later, but I'll go ahead and see. This is just an old MRE bag that I'm using so I could have a teaser. What is in here is actually not the original contents. So basically what I've done is I put together, at the request of a viewer, I'm subscribed to her channel as well, and we're subscribed to each other. I'm also a member of her channel, and basically what she wanted to see was a survival meal using ration components on a specific theme. And there are some MREs that are very close to it already, but because I don't happen to actually have that particular menu. There's Cliff in the house, thanks for dropping in. I decided to go into my ration box and just dig out things. And the theme that was given, at least for the main entree, was a survival burrito. So I happen to have a loose taco filling. It was in the last box of goodies I got from my crusher. So I will be using this, and then the best flavor of the First Strike bars out there. It's the only First Strike bar I had, but I decided to add this to it just for a little different flavor. So that's a cran raspberry First Strike bar. I have the better of the two tortillas, the chipotle tortillas. They have a little extra flavor as well as the color. Then for a cold drink option, I pulled out this grape drink. That will go into the drinking jar. And I grabbed a cheese spread with jalapenos, because why not? Then for a hot drink, this is the cocoa mix that was in the first RCIR that I did. So I drank a coffee from that one, I drank a tea from that one, but I decided to save the cocoa for a later time, and I figured I'm just going to go ahead and pull that out, and that will go into my mug. Then I have this lime flavored bar. And this comes from a foreign ration, I'm pretty sure. Which one, I don't know. But I'm guessing it may be similar to some of the Polish bars, or maybe, let's see. I could look. It's got English so far only on here, so it may not even be foreign. It may have just come from a pack, a multi-pack of bars. So this was also in that box from my crusher. And then the last thing that I just decided to add after yesterday, that box I got from Flat Top Dave of Burger Butt and Burger Butt. He threw this bar into the box. So I decided this would be, I've never seen this before. So I figured I am going to go ahead and open this one up. Let's see, we have Free America in the house. Thanks for dropping in. Anytime I have one of these cold drink powders that is a lot of sugar, I tend to mix it up first because it takes longer to dissolve than the sugar-free ones. And even though these pouches are designed to mix in, because I do this on camera, I dump it into the drinking jar. Very, very light colored. Very artificial smelling. And there is Elsie in the house. Thanks for dropping in. Some of these tend to look a little strange at first when you first start to mix it, but they do settle down after a while. At least with this, it is not that obnoxious red. See, it kind of sticks, but that will get another mix. Now, these European cocos, most of the time they're not as sweet as the American type. It's also a little darker in color. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this, put it into the pot on my stove. And then I will just use residual heat from the stove top to warm the tortillas and the cheese spread. So I'll get these in there and then I'll be right back with the hot water for the cocoa. That is what that looks like. Oh, yum, Elsie, that sounds yummy. No, none of these came from a humanitarian daily ration. This is most likely, now Mike Kreischer can tell me for sure where this came from. Since this is English only on this packaging. But I'll go ahead and open it and we'll see if it looks similar to some bars that you may find in some European rations. And yes, it does. This looks exactly like what you would find in the Polish ration. This is rice paper on both sides, so as you hold it, you don't feel the stickiness. So there is some stickiness on the outside or around the edges. But that silver packaging is what some of the components from the HDR is in. And it may have blue or black writing depending on the year of production, when it was packed. There may be some of these bars could be Latvian or I have yet to see them in Lithuanian rations. But they could be in Latvian, they could be in some other European rations, depending on the packer that they use and where these are sourced from. There are 4 flavors of the First Strike bar. There is the mocha, which is a coffee chocolate flavor. Then there is the chocolate. Then there's the apple cinnamon, which has a slightly different texture than the others. And then this is the cran raspberry. The apple cinnamon texture is slightly different than this one. This also came out of a larger pack that Dave just decided to throw into the box. But this looks like it might be a chocolate covered bar. That'll be my guess. Yep. And it's very crumbly, so I'm going to clear all these bits out of here. The typical, at least the current production of the humanitarian daily ration, as well as the previous versions of them, had food only, besides, a napkin, maybe a wet wipe, no flameless ration heater, no drink option of any kind. There is Mike in the house. I just opened up the lime bar. And I was trying to figure out where it came from. So I looked for other languages and I only see English on it. So I'm assuming that it came from a larger pack. But it does look like the ones that you would find in a Polish ration. I've got all those bits accounted for, I think. Again, for those coming in late, I'm doing a special request by another viewer, and I was hoping that she would be able to hop in. Maybe she will later. But basically, what was asked for. Oh, nice. Basically, what she asked for was a survival meal based around a burrito. Because she knows that I love the rations. And that I have these things. So because of the items that you sent, Mike, I'm able to pull this one off without having to wait until I could get an emery that is burrito themed, like the chicken burrito bowl or something like that. But this taco filling, I figured would work. And speaking of, I'm going to go ahead and grab the tortillas and the cheese. In fact, I'll just bring the entree. Should be heated up by now anyway. I am back. I just use this dome lid, which is a part of my regular cookware, to carry the hot items. So I'm giving the cheese spread a little bit of a knead. I'll place that there. I'm going to go ahead and open up the tortillas. Yeah, they came out very clean. Oxygen absorber down the bottom. You can see these are very, very orangish yellow. But they are fragile. So I'm going to lay that one over there on top of that. Then I have a paper towel that I'll dry the entree pouch off with. Makes it easier to handle. The tear notch goes this way across it. Some retort pouches, the tear notch goes across this way. But I like to shake the food down just to make sure that it's well below the tear notch when I go to rip and open. And I would do the same if I wanted to cut it off from the end. Makes for a much cleaner rip. Now this is definitely a loose mix. It looks more like chili. It's kind of that consistency of a thin chili. Now I'll go ahead and open up the cheese spread. I guess that didn't make a big as hole as I wanted. There we go. This will be very, very messy. And this tortilla may fall apart. Because these can be brittle, it's very hard to do the roll up from the bottom where you fold the tortilla up a little bit and then you fold the sides over. Now if this were a little thicker, I think it would work a little bit better, but it can still be done. The jalapeno definitely gives this a little extra kick. This great drink had a bit of a foam like a little beer head on it. I'm giving it another mix just to, I think it's pretty much all dissolved. But I've never seen a grape drink do that before. Kind of gives it there's a slight weirdness in the flavor, but I think getting that foam out of there will definitely calm, you know, that should take care of that little bit of weirdness. If I had more tortillas, which I do, I have the plain tortillas, but I wanted to go for the chipotle ones. I don't want any of that stuff to go into that chocolate. But I guess this goes to show that if you have a bunch of MREs, you don't have to eat them straight up out of the bag as they are. You could take the different components and mix them up to create your own meals. Just like I'm doing with this. You can say take the brisket entree. You can mix, you know, take some of the, just combine different things that, especially if you have foreign rations, you can have so much more fun with it. Yep, that's what they do. There is Aletha in the house. Thanks for dropping in. Guys, if you are not friends with Aletha on Facebook, you should see a certain seriously adorable little sprout. Yeah, I'm bragging on your son. He is so crappin' adorable. And it's good to see you in the chat. I'm still sitting here with all those smaller bucket lids and haven't gotten the buckets to go with them. But anyway, yeah. Aletha has a new baby. If you're not aware of that, go check out the pictures of this little guy. Yep, this is going to be a messy one, but I don't care. You need to get some more of that abuelita Mexican cocoa mix with the touch of cinnamon in it. That would have been a perfect drink to have with this. Now, this tortilla is most likely going to break apart because it's already cracked right there. See, it's breaking apart. But I'm going to go ahead and I'll squirt the rest of this cheese into here. Just for the heck of it. I would love to see a tortilla company make these chipotle tortillas for sale so that anybody can buy them. As far as I know, you can only get them out of a USMRE. Yeah, but for those who cannot make the tortillas, or who don't have time to do it, you know, it would be a good option. But these are a definite treat to find in an MRE bag. But the combination of the chipotle, the filling, and the cheese spread with jalapenos, yeah, that makes this. Gonna have a drink of this. There have been a couple other times in these streams where I would change up something that was in a ration and I substituted something else just because I wanted to have a little fun with it. Yeah, I have done that, say, with the jalapeno cheese burger patty. I have taken, I swapped out, there was, I think, a wheat snack bread pack that had 2 slices in it. That came out of another MRE, and then the pouch that only had the 1 piece of the snack bread in it, I took down out. So I swapped the 2 so I could literally make a sandwich out of it. Or I've done that with, say, the brisket and doing what I called the hot beef sandwich, which is an open face sandwich. You put 2 pieces of bread on either side of a mound of mashed potatoes, and then you put the beef in the gravy on top of all of that. We used to eat that as a home meal, and then when we've gone to restaurants that serve it, we would sometimes order that. Just something for, a comfort food. Diana in the house, thanks for dropping in. I just finished off the second tortilla, but basically what I did was I decided to go with a viewer request, and she's not here, unfortunately. If she does not come later on tonight, I will go ahead and reveal who wanted to see this, but I'm sure she will catch the replay later. But basically what I did was, for U.S. MREs, depending on the menu that the packer is putting together, you will get one of 4 different bread items. Most of the time when you get tortillas, it's the plain tortillas. Once in a while you get these chipotle ones. You'll either, you get one of 2 crackers, the plain crackers most of the time. Once in a great while you might get the vegetable crackers. Then you'll get Italian breadsticks. And then you'll get the wheat snack bread, which also comes in, there's one just called wheat snack bread. One there's called white wheat snack bread. So it's made with like the bleached flour. So it's lighter in color. Less of the wheat taste. And then there's the whole grain wheat snack bread. Then there's the multigrain snack bread. And once in a while, you might get 2 pieces in the same pouch as opposed to 1 piece of the wheat snack bread. And that is all of the different bread items that you'll get in MREs that do not have anything already on them or in them, like the pizzas. So there are 2 different pieces. There's the pepperoni pizza, and then more recently they've added the cheese pizza to the MRE lineup. There is James Ortiz in the house. Yeah, the Italian breadsticks are actually not bad. And if you put a cheese spread on them, or you dip them in something, and if you warm them up, they're even better. So I'll just finish this off just as it is. since I only brought in 2 tortillas. But yeah, those are the bread items that you get in the MRE. In the first strike rations, you will get filled bread items. Like a barbecue beef sandwich or barbecue chicken sandwich, or like a pork sandwich of some sort. And that, the filling is completely encased inside of the bread. Say if you are making pigs in a blanket with wrapping crescent roll dough around your hot dog before baking it. Mm. Yeah, throw a little chive on top of that sour cream. Yeah, that would be good. But because my oven doesn't work, I can't bake. It's just pot storage. By the way, for those that are just watching for the first time, see this thing right here, that is part of the phone mount. It's like a little handle on the jaw that holds my phone, and I haven't been able to figure a way to get it completely out of the picture. No, I don't have an air fryer. I do have an Instapot Duo. I don't have a whole lot of space for appliances. Since I'm in a very small apartment, I have I have one of those electric sandwich cookers that clamshell open. I have one of those. I have a quesadilla maker, which I can put tortillas about that big around in. And then I have, a small George Foreman grill. I keep those on top of one of my cabinets. And then I have a small crock pot up there as well. And then I just take that down when I want to use it. And then when I'm done with it, I put it back up there. Yeah, my sisters have air fryers, and they really like using them, but I just don't have the space for it. Yeah, my mom's George Foreman grill finally crapped out when we used it on her birthday. One of my sisters cooked beef polska kielbasa on it. because we wanted to have kielbasa and potato pancakes for her birthday. It's I am a Polska, so that's what we wanted to do. But when my sister went to plug it back in to warm it in order to clean it up, it just would not heat up again, despite trying a couple of different outlets. So, because that thing was so old, that was one of the original large ones. It was about as, the cooking surface is as wide as this tray. And then she couldn't find a drip tray, and if it would have heated back up again, I would have said, I found a drip tray in a bunch of stuff that I rescued from the side of the road that I cleaned up. We could have seen if that would fit under there. But, so I told my sister, she was getting some foil, and I said, you curl up the sides of the foil, then you could form a drip tray. And so she did that, and it worked. And it contained any of the grease that came out of the kielbasas as they were cooking. But because it finally crapped out after cooking the kielbasa, my brother just took it down to the dumpster when we took my mom's trash out. Or when one of my sisters took my mom's trash out, and my brother took that George Foreman grill that finally cooked its last meal. But my Instapot Duo was given to me because my younger nephew, or my older nephew, upgraded to a different Instapot. He wanted a different model, so I got his old one. So I can saute in it. I would just have it on, but I would not put the lid on. So I can fry in it. The only thing it cannot do is pressure can like the Instant Pot Max. Now, the woman that has a channel, Disabled and Prepping, does exactly that in her Instant Pot Max. She lives on disability, but she still preps. And when she gets a good score on meats or fresh vegetables, especially when she goes and to hit up the community gardens in her town, which she contributes seeds to because she can't grow much in her apartment, she will can half pint and and full pint jars in there. You can put 4 pint jars in it at a time, and that's it. But for someone who cannot do a whole big batch, lifting a big heavy canner or lifting large jars, for someone who is not able to do that, she can still can, and she does. But it's because she has Instapot Max that allows her to do that. So my Duo cannot pressure can. I can pressure cook, but that's it. And I mean, I got a very old stove, and my big burner doesn't work. The other three burners are all small. And so I don't think I would get enough heat spread around the bottom of a bigger pot if I were to put a larger pot on top of the smaller burner. Plus, I just don't have proper shelf storage for a bunch of jars. So I do have canning jars, but I just fill them with dry food. Throw an oxygen absorber in it. Unless I'm putting salt or sugar in there, then I don't put oxygen absorbers in there. I would put moisture absorbers in instead. But some of the jars that I got for free because someone left them either in the laundry room, or I found a box that had 11 half pints. So missing the 12th one, but I don't know if that one broke or it was full and the person who left it, maybe moved out, took that one. But I took those 11 jars that were sitting in a box in front of the dumpster. So I washed them out. I put all new lids and rings on them. So I may put, so I can use those for like dried herbs. Or if I want to put some like smaller quantities of, say like rice or some kind of bean or something like that, I'll use those half pints for that. Or I'll pack up some food, but if I don't have enough for a larger jar, or if I have a little bit left over from filling a bag, then I just put some in one of those half pint jars. In fact, I did that with some raw sugar. I filled up a Mylar bag, and then what would not fit in the bag, I put into one of those half pint jars, and that worked out just perfect. Moisture absorber in each, and I call that done. I just use boxes to keep those jars in. Plus, they will already be packed when it is time for me to leave this particular apartment. I'm just waiting on the property management company to say, you get out of here and you go into there. Because back in 2020, The previous management company did a nearly full reno of the building, gutting some of the apartments down to the studs and the subfloor, and redid everything. They redid the hall, the laundry room. So for a time, everybody either had to haul their laundry to a laundromat or go to a relative or a friend to do laundry. And occasionally, if I was going to my mom's apartment to do some stuff for her, like my sisters and I will do, we'll help her clean things. And so I've taken my laundry over to my mom's apartment and used her washer and dryer. Or my sisters would take my laundry and do it in their homes, but usually I just went to a laundromat until they got the laundry room ready for us to use again. But I still have the original crap that was put in here when these buildings were originally built. My deck had to be repaired, so for a while I couldn't have anything on there. So last year was the first time I had plants on my deck. So recently a maintenance guy came in to do some repairs that were ordered by the city inspector. But oh, that's a crapper. Yeah, and well, at least you got to hang out for a while. So, if you got to split, you got to split. You know, that's the way life goes. But I'm glad you could hang it out at least for a little while. And then during the summer or late spring, a guy had to come into my apartment to literally reattach the one of my cabinets to the wall because it was literally falling away from the wall. So he had to shore that up so I could put stuff back in there. But I still did not put as much in there as I had in there before, simply because, I don't want that to happen again. But it is pretty well beefed up for the time being. But when they do renovate this apartment, they will most likely gut it down to the studs, because what was done in this building years ago is absolute crap. Nothing was square. The cabinets were just cobbled together instead of using proper cabinet construction. I have to use a couple of carabiners on my bathroom cabinets, or at least the one that's below the sink, because the screws in the top hinge, just on the one door, there is nothing for them to really bite into. So I took the old screws out of that I was able to get one to go in part way, but I discovered that, when the inspector, I told him he figured it was particle board and not real solid wood that we use for the frame of that cabinet. So the top screw, I put a bigger screw in there, and I could just literally pull it out. I wouldn't have to use a screwdriver to pull that screw out, but I just leave it in there because it keeps that hinge in place. So I put a couple of carabiners together and hook them on the door handles, and only open them up when unhook one when I open up the door. That way it keeps the door closed and my cat doesn't get into it. And of course, when the guy came in to do the work in the bathroom on the ceiling, and he put hinges, my interior doors did not have 3 hinges like code requires. It only had a top and bottom, none in the middle. So he put middle hinges in, but apparently he dropped a screw and didn't try to look for it, so I found it. I claim it as mine. Yeah, if anyone leaves any bits of hardware around, like screws or nails or anything like that, I find them, I keep them. So during the renovation process of the whole building, I would literally be walking around outside, and I would see them, I would pick them up, or I would take a magnet and going around, in the grass and picking them up because, people have dogs. They walk their dogs. And it would not be good for a dog to step on a screw or a nail, or a bit of wire or a staple, because that could do some damage to their paws. So I pick all those up. And if they're still in a usable condition, they just get added to my stash. I think it's time to try this lime bar that I got from Mike. It is definitely a sweet lime flavor. But it doesn't taste too fake. Which is really nice about these bars. Yeah, this was. Yeah, these are pretty good bars. It'd be nice to find something like this locally. Here's Shadow Sprout Sweet in the house. CR's in the house. Thanks for dropping in. So for those you two just came in, I went ahead and did a viewer request, and she has not showed up yet. So she may not show up at all. But it was mentioned while I was in another live stream chat, and she suggested do something about a survival meal with a burrito theme. And I thought, I can definitely do that. So the beef taco filling is what was here, but it's has a loose consistency like chili. So it ran out. Then I grabbed a packet of the jalapeno cheese spread, the chipotle tortillas, and I used those to put together the burritos. Well, they're more like tacos because the tortillas are kind of, they break easy. So I really couldn't roll them like a burrito. But then this lime flavored cereal bar came from my crusher. I wanted to throw that in. This is a cranberry or cran raspberry first strike bar. And then this is the bar that Dave of Burger Butt and Burger Butt sent into that box of, he put that in the box of goodies that I got from him. But I was hoping that he would be here to see it opened up, but it's kind of I think it took a bit of a beating, so it is a bit crumbly. But I will go ahead and kind of looks like a cake. It's like a chocolate covered fudge top brownie. That's what it's like. I thought it was be more like a candy bar or cookie bar. But it's still very good. I got a great drink in the drinking jar. I was in one of those shaker pouches. I just pulled that out of the stash. And then the French cocoa from the Halal RCIR. I got that in the mug. What I probably should have done was grab a packet of the Abuelita cocoa, but since I was doing all ration items, I went for the French cocoa. Speaking of seeds, Garden State Gardener is doing his 100 days of seeds, and he's also doing it on his Facebook page. So he puts up what he calls a registration video once a week for that. And then your name gets put on the wheel. And then he also has a number wheel that he will spin. And then that's for the Facebook page that you put every week. He'll ask you if you're in that. You put a number in the comments under that particular post. And then you have a chance to win seeds a couple of different times, on YouTube and Facebook. But yeah, now would be a good time to start planting your seeds for the next planting. Speaking of Walmart, a Walmart driver came to deliver a package yesterday, and he kept wanting my address to be something totally different than what was written on the label. At first I thought he was lost and he couldn't figure out which building to go to. But then he said my name, but he still did not say the right address, or the address that he wanted me to be at. And I said, there's no, whatever the number, what he said. There are only 2 buildings on the block, and neither of them have the number that he wanted it to have. So I thought he was not going to let me have the package, even though I have my name on it and the correct address. But I had to wait for that. But the only reason why it was a Walmart order was I had one, or not really one, but I earned a gift card, or some kind of a gift code that I could then convert over to a gift card from a list of retailers. And so I chose Walmart, and I placed an online order, And so it was split up into different different packages. So one came by FedEx, and the only reason why I actually got that one was because the door that I normally go in and out of is messed up where you really have to pull hard in order for it to latch, or push hard if you want to go out, just to open the door. From inside, you really got to push hard. So it has been reported someone is supposed to do something about it. But the previous package that FedEx bungled it up because they refuse to follow delivery instructions, or they tell their drivers not to follow delivery instructions for people who live in buildings with a key-only access. They don't outright say it, but it's implied that you have to sit at all entrances of the building at the same time all day in order to wait for a package, and you could still end up missing it. But so I finally ended up getting it after the local facility sent me well, first they tried to call me, but the number that they left for me to call back was garbled, and the message cut off before finishing all the digits. And the corporate would not give me the number of the local facility, and that facility is nowhere near a bus stop, so I couldn't have taken a bus over there. And so finally I get a little card in the snail mail with the number on it, so I called it. And so they had it transferred. They had not sent it back to the sender. They had just been sitting on it. So I called the number that was on the card, and they had it redirected over to a FedEx office. At first they wanted to send it to like a Walgreens that's far distant from here, but I said, no, the FedEx office on this location is the closest. So why can't it go there? So they sent it over there, but the guy said, keep that card so you can have that number. Yeah, FedEx does not like this property, or others like it. And I've been having some trouble with UPS for the same thing. Drivers don't always follow the delivery instructions, but they are more considerate about having packages redirected to a UPS access point. Although I've had packages go to one that's not close to a bus stop, and one package got stolen from that location. So I had to reorder that thing again. But Amazon took care of that and just had it sent out. But the next time, it was actually brought to my apartment, or allowed to be redirected to the access point of my choosing. Yeah, they say it's their policy not to say, well, we don't issue cell phones to the drivers. Well, who said you have to? The drivers carry their phones for emergencies if they have to call into whatever facility they work out of. So they can call the facility if they have to call the police or EMS or fire department for an emergency like that. You know, they can they can call an intended recipient or send a text. It can't be that hard to do. Now, most of the time, Amazon drivers are actually more. They do that. Sometimes they don't, but more often than not, they do. Or there's live tracking, and I can follow the progress of the driver's approach, and then I can be down by that door. Yeah, I agree that it takes too much intelligence. Yeah, it should not be that hard. When I worked as a home health aide, if I had issues with getting into a building, an apartment building, to see a client, then I could call that client to let him or her know that I was there, but I couldn't get into the building for whatever reason. And that actually did happen a few times where either, you know, something was up with the code box or whatever other method I used to get in, or I went into one building and there was some substitute security person who said that they are not allowing people in who are not relatives of a resident. Uh, so I said, well, what about people who have home health aides? He wanted to not to deny them access. What if it was a nurse, someone who provides a little bit higher level care than, say, I do? So I called the resident and said that your security person is not letting professional care workers come in, because it's not an emergency. And that guy said that even if I had resident permission, it would still not let me in. But I guess that resident called the office, said, you have to let these people in. So I guess that security person did not get to work in that building again, because after that, there are no issues with home care workers or other professional service providers to get in to see their clients. After I left that client, I was going to the bus stop to go to my next client. I did call into the office that I worked out of to report that issue, and I wouldn't be surprised if they called the building management, tell them that they cannot deny that kind of access, because, for one thing, that will be a violation of the Americans with Disabilities Act. And that would be the least of their worries. I just took a bite of the cran raspberry first strike bar. The mocha one was my favorite until I took that first bite of one of these. The apple cinnamon one has a texture that's closer to that of like the Nutri-Grain cereal bar mixed with this. Yeah, I like the flavor of it, but I don't know, it's just something about this, the cran raspberry, that makes it a favorite. This is Old Smoky's favorite as well. I wish Dave was here to see me enjoy this one, but maybe he'll watch the replay. There is Tim in the house. Yeah, apparently something happened. I don't know if he's having just life issues or internet issues. Didn't get any kind of course, I haven't checked his channel to see if he put it up. You know, he put up anything on his community tab, but he has been dealing with a bunch of stuff. I'm sure he will talk about it when he feels it's okay to. You know, people do have that kind of stuff going on where they're going through stuff that they need to keep on the down low for a little while. Or that they just want to. And then they may talk about it at a later time. Yeah. Yeah, that'll happen to, you know, there are people out there who just look for trouble. They don't care who they rip on. And just like another channel I watch videos from, just for the sake of that channel owner's privacy, I'm not going to disclose the name of that channel. But the person said that some scam artist decided to create a fake Amazon store with the channel owner's name and a picture, and then claiming it was the channel owner's actual Amazon affiliate page, when it is actually not. The channel owner's affiliate page has a slightly different look to it, and maybe slightly different title. So that has been reported. So the channel owner is having to deal with that. And of course, there's a lot of spoofing going on where idiots will create fake channels and then put comments on videos saying that you won a prize or contact through this method for more stuff, when the channel owners don't use those platforms. Like they'll say, text me on Telegram, but the channel owner doesn't use Telegram, or text me on WhatsApp, and that is not the channel owner's WhatsApp number, or that channel owner does not use WhatsApp at all. They'll even put these fake prize comments even on videos where there is no giveaway. I've seen that, so if I'm able to report it, I do. And YouTube is supposedly cracking down on these impersonators, but they will still pop up. In fact, yesterday I was going to try to report one. I saw a comment, but I couldn't report it because that channel had already been taken. So YouTube apparently caught that one. So, but if I can still report these nutheads, I do. And then same on Facebook or Instagram. I reported one on Facebook recently. They did the same thing. They create a fake profile, and if you gone to the real legit one, and you know how many followers the real Facebook profile has compared to the fake one, and you look at the content, there may be something different about it that just should set off an alarm in your head. And so that gets reported as well. Yep. Yeah, for instance, I reported some nuthead who made a fake profile for the Olight company. So I reported that. I reported an Instagram profile that was fake because, I looked at the number of followers and the number of following, and then the title of the profile. That gave me a clue that was nowhere near what the real profile should be. Just on number of followers and following. That was enough of a red flag for me, so I reported it as an impersonation. So the more people that that watch out for these, then the fewer people will get scammed. Of course, it's up to the social media companies to do their part and do a better job of catching these nutheads. Yeah, I agree on that one. But I'm glad they're starting to do that. Of course, there are a few other things that they could change, and I hope they do, but they're cracking down on these fake accounts, these fake users. And now they're putting ads in the middle of live streams. So I was watching the Gray Man Prepping, one of Gil's channels. I was in his stream last night. And I got ads at two different times. Near the beginning or just after it started, I got 2 3-second ads back to back. And then later on, I got another, like a 5-second ad. These are what they call non-skippable, so you have to wait for the ad to finish playing, as opposed to the skippable kind where you can just say skip ad, and it will stop any more ads that may pop up. So Gil has been asking, when people see ads during his streams. So I have no way of knowing when an ad will come up in the middle of a stream. I don't know if it's above a certain number of subscribers, viewers would see that, or how that works, since because I'm the one who's actually broadcasting. So I have no idea how that will go. So I am curious if anyone is getting ads in the middle of the stream. So apparently there are settings that I could mess with if I go into the YouTube studio on a web browser. I wouldn't be able to do as much on a mobile. There's the Carlos Perry in the house. Thanks for dropping in. I don't have a whole lot of my food left, but my cran raspberry first strike bar. But it's good to see DeCarlos in the house. Hope you're doing okay. And that excessively adorable little guy who shares a house with you. I'll just recap what I basically did was I'll go ahead and reveal who made this request. Cortney of Whyde Family Farm. She is the one who gave me the idea of doing what she called a survival meal based on a burrito theme. So I said, yeah, sure. I was in a chat that she was in. I don't remember who was actually running the stream, but anyway, she put that idea out there, and I decided to go with it. So I looked through my stash, and I found my beef taco filling entree, the chipotle tortillas, a cheese spread with jalapenos, and then this cran raspberry first strike bar. Then I got a grape drink in the drinking jar. One of those that comes in the shaker pouch. And then this is the cocoa mix from the Halal RCIR that I did 2 meals out of. And then what was here, if you look at the unboxing video I did yesterday of the package I got from Dave of Burger Butt and Burger Butt, there was this bar wrapped in a white wrapper. And I assumed that based on what I could feel of it, it had to be some kind of a chocolate thing. So I figured it might be a chocolate, more of a candy bar or chocolate covered cookie. But it was actually a chocolate covered brownie, and it had kind of a fudgy or like creamy layer on it underneath the chocolate. Of course, this chocolate was a bit crumbly, but I'm guessing because it got bumped around by the postal service and that box did take a bit of a beating. And it was actually opened up for inspection, even though it did not come from outside the U.S. And it just, it said something about media mail or a certain mail rate that all these boxes are opened up for inspection, but apparently nothing was taken. Everything was left alone. Then again, all the candies were just loose in there. Maybe they took a couple of the candies for themselves. But that lime flavored bar with the rice paper on the sides, that was in there. They're like the kind that you get from Polish rations. I got that in a box from Mike Kreischer. So earlier he said that he got a bunch of those, well maybe not, or a few of them from all MREs. That's where he ordered those from. So I decided to throw that in for this meal tonight, just for something a little different. Plus, I wanted to actually try that one on camera. No, DeCarlos, that might not be a good idea because that could get, sorry, brief disconnect there. Yeah, that could get you and the intended recipient in a bit of trouble. But yeah, I would not want anyone to send anything like that to me because I don't want to go to prison for someone else's screw up. I will not even buy these hemp or so-called other so-called CBD products, even though they're supposedly perfectly legal here in Iowa. If the THC is below a certain level, and there are stores where I can buy things like that here in town, but I would not even go into a store to buy something like that because, for one thing, it might interfere with the prescription meds that I take. And my doctor does occasionally say, you got to pee in a cup. So I give him crap about my thyroid medicine showing up as something on the order of an opiate or heroin or cocaine or something weird like that. Just, yeah, I'll give him crap about it. I'll tease him about that. Yeah, it does. And if I wanted to buy a certain item, yeah, I don't want to mess with that. Not that I would have much success with one of those because, well, yes, the other YouTubers that I have messed with those things with, they'll tell you that I really suck at it. Yeah, right. I have never filled out one of those forms. At least if I were to go do something like that, I would not have to do a certain thing beforehand. Like until a couple of years ago, we had to get what's called a permit to acquire. And you could be denied that for whatever reason. But that got taken off, or, that is no longer a requirement. A couple years ago, the law was changed. So I would not have to go get a permit to acquire before I could even go buy the dang thing, or to have an additional background check. I mean, they you do a background check anyway when you go get the dang thing. So it just doesn't make sense to have the same thing done twice. And be denied, Yeah, you can still get permits, but you don't have to get a permit to acquire. But because I don't own a certain thing, I don't know if I can get a permit without actually purchasing the thing. In fact, I don't even know where I would go to do that. Okay, yeah. And I don't know where, yeah, I don't know if, what the process would be on that if I get a permit, but I don't actually get the thing the permit is for. I don't know if that would be okay to do it that way, but for right now, I have one that I do not have to get a permit for, but only time it comes out is when I go to a private range, and that's it. Yeah, that's a good plan to do that because yeah, especially even if you use it as medicine, and I know people who do use it as medicine in one form or another, you still have to be very careful with that. Because I know a person outside of the US who uses it as medicine, and people have tried to report her for selling or, you know, possession with intent to deliver. Even after seeing her license that she has, and she goes to a proper dispensary to get it. Yeah, Tim, that's the same as my younger nephew does. He could skip the permit, but he just chooses to get the permit because he wants to cover his dupa. Okay, thanks for dropping in. Now, Ciara will go have his late dinner or or an early or maybe a bedtime snack or something like that. Probably has the metabolism of a hummingbird. Yeah, Shadow, I'm sure that it's probably same thing in one country I would love to visit. I would probably even, I'm not sure what I would do about some of my prescription meds, even if I were to have copies of my prescriptions. Yeah, I'm concerned that some of my meds might not be allowed in, or that I would have to go see a doctor in that country in order to get a local prescription for something equivalent. But since there will be a change in government in the country that I want to go to, I don't know what would change about that. Not that I could afford to go over there anyway. Yeah, I would love to go to Poland. I would love to go to the area where my ancestors lived before some of them left to come over here to the U.S. back in 1849. I just want to find out more about my Polish ancestors more than what I have in a book that we had created back in '83 in advance of the only a Jinka family reunion that we have had. And we literally overran the town of Ashton, Nebraska. It had a population of around 200, large Polish population, and there were about 400 of us who literally took over the town. Well, their community center. And then every place that people could stay was taken up. And, some even had to go to Omaha to find a place to stay. Even all the places in Loop City were even filled up for that weekend. But we had a blast, and they hold Polish festivals there every year. So my mom showed me a video of one that someone had sent to her. Or she posted it up on Facebook, and then that came across my feed, so I watched it. But traveling out of the country is just not something that I can do. It's not in a budget. I don't have a passport. I don't even know if I can get one. Or if I would simply, or I pay the application fee, and I could still get denied and not get that money back. I don't know. But I can think about it at least. I think next week, I think I'm going to go back to France as far as the food goes. I'm going to dive into the other RCIR, the one that was packed in 21 with a best buy of 24. So I'm going to dive into that one next week and the week after. And both of the entrees are fish. Although I do have that one French entree that I've been sitting on for a while. I might substitute that one, or I just might save it for one of those times where I just throw a bunch of different things together. I might actually drink the cocoa out of that RCIR because I have not had that brand before. This SRD one, yeah, I've had it before, so I'm familiar with it. So I might get into that. I don't know. And it's got a couple of newer things that I'm definitely looking forward to trying as far as the little things go. For Saturday, November 4, I will not be online for a good part of the day because we are going to have a community meal at the mosque. We want to try to have one of these every month, but just could not work it for the last Saturday of this month. And with the kitchen being worked on, some much needed repairs. So more of that has been done this weekend, and so the guy that's doing it is doing it when he has a time from his regular job at a local college here. And he does similar work there for that college, and he just does it when he can at the mosque. So he's been doing that. And plus it gives us a chance to reorganize some things, see if we can come up with a much better system for when Ramadan comes around. And I call them hot boxes. They're insulated boxes that the big heating table pans can fit in. Sometimes they call them hotel pans, but whenever you go to a buffet and you see these steel pans in the warming table, we got a bunch of those pans in 2 different depths. We have some deeper ones and then shallower ones, and then we have lids for most of them. You can also Like at Sam's Club or Costco and some other stores, you can get the same size in the foil pans, but these hot boxes can hold 6 of them at once, and they can you you put a food in there fresh out of the oven, and you close that thing up and just let it sit there. It can be in there for 8 hours. You open that thing up, and it will still be at proper serving temperature. We borrowed a couple of these last Ramadan, and it worked out so well. But trying to get the foil pans in, especially if the hot box is on top of a cabinet, and you're short like me, and it's hard to get one into the top slot, it can be a bit of a struggle, and I almost lost a couple. But it still made it so much easier to keep that food warm while we free up counter space to get other food ready to put onto the serving tables. But now we own these hot boxes, and these are actually stackable, and the bottom ones have wheels, so we can have them in, if we wanted 4 different locations, we could. But having them on wheels means we can move them around, although one will stay in the kitchen. And then we have a room that some kids have their food in, or it can just be an overflow room, because we split the room, the men and men on one side, women on the other, and we have a partition that runs in between the two halves, which we can close up if we can fold that up if need be for another event. But yeah, we can put those hot boxes, we can put the food in them and call it done, and they'll stay hot until it's ready to serve. And because we own these now, we will not have to borrow them from this restaurant owner who only owns 2 of them. And even though they're very well insulated, to lift one by itself, because it's a foam, most of it is made out of a very high density foam type material. It's really not all that heavy when it's empty, but being that we can stack them and have wheels on the bottom too, yeah, that'll definitely help out, and we can use them over and over again whenever we want. So for this next community meal on November 4th, we may actually use one of them. Just to give it a go. Yeah, so that's what I'll be doing next, on the 4th, but of course on the 5th, I will be here chowing down. Now that I got those rations from Dave, I got a few more to play with. I still have that other brisket Amory, and the one that I bought from a guy on Facebook. I bought all of the Amories that he had that did not have pork in them, and there were two of the brisket. I still have that one. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with it. I don't know if I'm going to like include it in a giveaway or what I'll do with it, but I'll figure that out later. And of course, I got the fettuccine cream spinach fettuccine Amory from Dave. I happen to like it, and I think I've done that a few times on here, so I don't bother opening up that one on camera. So that one is just for my enjoyment. But the other ones, the MRE Star Tortellini, I will definitely be opening that one up on camera because this will be the first time I've opened up a sealed MRE Star ration. I've had the individual components, but not a sealed MRE Star ration. So it'll be interesting to see what they put in it. Unfortunately, I don't have a cheese tortellini MRE to do a direct comparison with. I wouldn't mind having one of those. So I may try to actually look for that particular US, the mil-spec MRE. I may try to look for that one because I would love to do a direct comparison between an MRE Star MRE and then the corresponding US MRE. I think that one would be fun to do. Yeah, something a little different, I guess. I'm going after this chocolate. Sorry about that. Hit my phone mount. It's not the most stable thing, but it works, so I'll continue to use it. But the next one that I get, I want one where I don't have to have something that shows up in front of the camera like that does. I mean, I could try rotating my phone. I mean, I could, I plugged my phone into a fully charged power bank. And with my phone being fully charged, that gives me, that makes sure I have enough power to go, because I've gone over 3 hours with these streams and not get the low battery warning. I, I might try that. Because right now where I put my USB cord in the phone, it's pointing to my right. I just might have to play with seeing if I could still do a stream or if it would look like it's upside down if I turn my phone the other way. But my phone mount has to be on the right side of the table because the left side of the table is literally up against the desk that I have my laptop and a dead desktop computer. Well, it's not completely dead. It turns on, but it won't boot up. So it's basically a glorified power bank. And it charges other, I can charge off of it, but it's at a slow rate. But because I plugged my phone in at night to charge, or anything else that I want to charge, I can plug it in overnight to charge off of it, and I'm okay with that. And I have a little USB fan plugged into it that runs all the time. Of course, if my power goes out, then obviously that thing will stop working because it doesn't have an internal battery like another fan that I have. But I keep that plugged in there, so it's basically a glorified power bank. But I don't use a laptop hardly because it's so hard for me to use a laptop, especially a small one. But since I got this Revel 5G, I don't have to dump apps in order to run a video through a video editor just to splice because of the higher memory capacity in this thing. Whereas before, I would have to dump the clips onto the laptop and run them through my video editor that I do have there. But I need to be able to have the screen separate from the keyboard so I can position both where it's more comfortable for me. And with a desktop computer, I can do that. But with a laptop, I can't. So that's why when I'm watching videos, I'm still doing it on my Kindle with my wireless Bluetooth keyboard. So I can have the Kindle where I like it, and I can have the keyboard where I like it. But until I can get a desktop computer, I'll just keep doing it with the Kindle. Yeah, I'm not set up to print, so I don't know if, because I've had the printer for quite a few years, I don't know if it would be compatible. So I just don't even bother trying. But I make do with what I got, and that's the best you can do. Yeah, I'm sure I could have blown my stimulus money on a computer, but I chose to spend it on stuff that would be more beneficial to me in the long term. I added to my preps. You know, I may have used a little bit of it to pay a bill, but I spent the majority of that money on preps. And when I've gotten gift money in the past, I spent it on preps. I may have used some of that to pay a bill, but as much as I would love to have an emergency stash, I sat on some for a while, the last round of gift money that I got, but I decided to pay a bill with some of it, and then I bought preps. So that's probably what I will continue to do, is just add to my stash. Even though I'm running out of space, as I was told Aletha earlier, I am pretty much out of bucket space. The last 3 buckets that I got are filling up. And she had given me some buckets and some lids that are the smaller size. I got a bunch of lids, but I don't have buckets for them. I just haven't gotten those buckets. So I need to get the buckets that will fit those lids so I can start filling them up. Of course, what I would really love to have is some off-site space where I can get a lot of my completed buckets out of here. Then I would just keep a few here as a backup to my canned foods. So I would keep 1 bucket of rice here. I would keep 1 bucket of beans here. I would keep some of my pasta here. And I would keep all of my number 10 cans and my Thrive pantry cans. I would keep them here. But some things I would love to get out of here and into another location but I can't rent a storage locker and take the stuff myself because I don't drive. There are no storage lockers that are relatively short distance away, and because I don't drive, someone would have to take me to the location to help me unload the vehicle and put the stuff in there. So I would prefer to find a local who wouldn't mind allowing me to store some of my preps there, so I can free up some space here. And I don't want my apartment to look like uh, a hoarder's junk box. So that's just one of the few drawbacks of living in a small apartment where you don't have a garage. There are some apartment buildings that have internal storage rooms that residents can have access to. And with one client that I used to see, this person had a shelf in one of those storage rooms that residents could have. And so this person would have some items put in there, and I would help this person move things in and out of there as they were needed. So that person would store things that they wanted to keep but not need as often, or say there were seasonal things. So this person would store winter things in there during the summer, or, you keep Christmas stuff in there when you're not using it, someplace like that. We don't have that here. Yeah, I couldn't even keep a trike inside a stairwell because it got stolen. And I had held a fundraiser to get that trike. And I had gotten a couple of upgrades, like someone got me some new tires for it. And a slightly different tube went into those tires, so I still had the original tires for that trike, and I have tubes for those tires. I'm holding on to those tires. But, I have the front basket from that trike that could be taken off. And it has handles so I could use it to carry stuff around. So right now it's a storage basket. Of course, that was before locks got put on the entry doors, because someone had told some criminals they could go in and take my trike and the chains that were holding, that had the, I had used to lock the trike to the stairs in the stairwell. And of course, when it first got vandalized and mostly stripped, police came, they took pictures. I never heard anything of it again. But then later, the frame itself got stolen, and a big 40-pound chain that was used to secure the frame to the stairwell. Someone must have used an angle grinder to cut that chain so they could take it. So as much as I would love to have another trike, I just can't do it here. And someone said, well, why don't you take it inside? You take it to your apartment. I said, can I take a 70, 100-pound trike up the steps? Apparently that was a new concept. They didn't understand that. But I have a wagon now. I used it to haul my stuff from my driver's vehicle to the handprint teepee at the campground where the powwow was held at last month. And of course, the powwow organizing committee got the other wagon. In fact, I used it when a package got a UPS package got redirected to the access point. And I took the wagon. I had it collapsed. I took it. The bus went to that store that serves as a UPS access point. I took the cover off the wagon. I opened it up. And then I signed for the box, got put in there. And then I hopped a bus. And in fact, another passenger helped me get it in to the bus. And so I was going to offer to take the box out of the wagon and collapse it, but the driver said, normally I would want you to do that, but going to let it slide this time, especially since I wasn't going all that far. So then that same guy actually took it out of the bus when I got to the bus stop that is closest to here. And then I hauled it home. I brought the box upstairs. And then I brought the wagon up. And I might actually start using it to haul my laundry to and from the laundromat. So if I have, so if I have to bug out of here, and just start hoofing it somewhere. I can take the wagon down. I can take down the items that I want to put into the wagon, and then put my bug out bag on my back, and then start heading to wherever I need to go. And of course, group camping trips, like if I get to do one next month, or the two others that I have camped with, they own sleds that you pull behind when you're walking on snow, and you can put your gear in the sled or use it to haul firewood around. Well, they'll use it any time of year to put their gear in when they're hauling more than just their packs. You know, they'll put some of their gear in the sled, and then when we get to the campsite, they have to go hunt up firewood. They can load it up with the firewood, take it back to camp. And in fact, the last time I camped at one location, well, the others went off to do something else, or they're doing, I went and collected a bunch of smaller diameter wood and filled up the sled, and then piled it up next to the fire pit, so we had a bunch of kindling, and yeah, I used the sled for that. And then one of them owns one of those collapsible wagons, so that's what gave me the idea to eventually get one of my own. And so now I have one. There are some that you can get a stretchy net to go over to keep items from moving around a lot or falling out if you're going over rough terrain. Or some you can get canopies that go over the top of them. Those are great if you are hauling little kids around and you want to keep the sun off of them. Or if you put a little dog in there and want to keep the sun from cooking the dog. You put the little pup in that wagon with the canopy over it, and yeah, you can get different versions of these collapsible wagons, so yeah, definitely worth a look to get into one of those. It wasn't a collapsible wagon that was used, but another wagon got decorated for my younger nephew's wedding. And then two little boys, there was one pulled it And then I think the smaller of the two boys actually sat inside the wagon, and he was a ring bearer, and then the other little boy pulled him. Towards the, yeah, towards the front where my nephew and the bride stood, and so they used a wagon for that. Of course, highly decorated, but it was the first time I attended a wedding where a wagon was used like that. It was pretty darn cute. Ooh, my chat just. Oh, wow, my chat just did not do anything for a long time, so I had no idea. Oh, there's Joe Garden State Gardener. I got to scroll back because I did not see the chat do anything. See, Chicago coming in. Infos. Yeah, I'm scrolling back. I missed a whole heck of a lot because my chat just was not doing anything. So I missed a whole lot of the conversation. And so I apologize for missing all of the chat, but even though I have it set on live chat, it just stopped showing up for me. Usually when someone says something, it flashes up on my phone screen. So I would see it, and then it would disappear after a few seconds. But nothing was showing up at all. I had no idea that anyone was saying anything or what. So I do apologize for that. But there is, so Joe, yeah, remember, he's got the 100 Days of Seeds going on. So sometimes he might have more than one winner per day. So he put up what he calls the registration video for his Pierogi Monday. Now that's a shorter stream than his Sunday Funday ones. And also, he and Cortney of Whyde Family Farm are collaborating on a new channel called Grow Big TV. So that channel is already set up on YouTube. So the first video will be posting up there in the near future, but you can go ahead and subscribe to it. There's also Facebook, there's Instagram, but yeah, he can tell you all about where Grow Big TV is at on the various social media platforms. So I have hit on all of them. So I think that is going to be a fun thing for them to do. And if it works as well as they hope it will, if it gets more people to start growing a bit of their own food, even if it's just a few plants, that they can either use immediately when they harvest them or preserve them for later use. Yeah, then yeah, all the better. And speaking of seeds, I will probably be adding to my seeds over the next few months because I've emptied out some of my packets and I want to get some more of those same seeds. Plus, get a few others. And the ones that I can't grow here because I don't have the right conditions, they're good barter items. There was a bunch of seed packets that I picked up after the giveaway at the White Eagle Powwow. I don't think anybody went for those seeds, or maybe a few did, but what was left, I grabbed them all. Some of them had been opened up, maybe a few seeds were used out of them, but I taped them closed so that I wouldn't lose any more seeds. And I have already shared some of those. I sent some of those seeds to a couple different people. So that they can decide if they want to use them themselves or share them with others. And last year when I grabbed all that Genovese basil, there's a whole bunch of those packets. No one else wanted them, so I grabbed them all and I shared them. I kept a few for myself, but I gave Joe a bunch of them to give away. So that's why he got the larger number of them. And I sent 3 packets to Disabled and Prepping. I told her 1 you keep for yourself. Then you can give the other 2 to the community gardens. There are 2 different community gardens that she has donated seeds to that people either send her or that she acquires herself. I sent her 1 packet for each of those gardens, those community gardens. And because she contributes seeds to it, she can go there and harvest whatever she feels like. And then I sent some to Homestead Tessie. Yeah, she loves basil too, so I thought she would enjoy that one. But I still have a few packets of that Genovese basil. So I might plant that one next year. To see what that one looks like. But yeah, I'm gonna start working on adding to my seed stash. I also have some of those, they call them survival seeds, in sealed containers. And a lot of those require full sun. So for now, they will stay in those containers. They don't get any light on them and all because they're buried underneath other things. Of course, Augustin Farms has the number 10 cans with those seed packets, so you know they can't get light on them. But even those I have buried underneath other stuff. And my, the Brahms family, whose property I have camped on a few times. I've tasted their eggs 12 hours out of the chicken. Can't get much fresher than that. You know, they are already working on their grow plans for the spring. What they will start in the greenhouses in February. So their winter time, they clean the greenhouses. They check on their other supplies. They work on any machinery that they have. Yeah, they also grow alfalfa. So once they're done and they've made their last cutting of that, whatever they do to their fields after they have harvested everything they're going to get out of them, they may do something with those fields with one of their tractors. In the winter, they do any maintenance that they have to do. Okay, Shadow, I'll probably be knocking off pretty soon here anyway. Says I've eaten all the food I've laid out. I've finished my drinks off. Wow. Yeah, those are some pretty busy chickens. Yeah, one of my friends has a few chickens. And so he posted that he was having just, it really winded him just to carry one bag of feed. So I suggested that he get a wagon. And he could just move the feed bag from the truck into the wagon, and he can use the wagon to haul it into the coop. So I don't know if he'll take me up on that suggestion, but it might make it a little easier for him to do that. And the feed bags are too heavy for his very diminutive wife to carry around. Well, Tim, I guess you're going to have to either freeze them Or there are some people who dehydrate eggs and then grind them up into a powder once they're dehydrated. Either that or freeze dry them if you have access to a freeze dryer. Well, you could always go over to Mike Crusher's house and borrow his freeze dryer. Although that might be a bit of a haul for Iowa to go there. I don't know if my dehydrator will get the right temperature for dehydrating eggs because I can't change the temperature on my dehydrator. It just works at whatever it is. But at least I have one. After the last one crapped out, I found one on Facebook Marketplace that was the exact same model. So I bought it. It came with the 4 additional trays. And then I bought those screens and then those solid liners that you could use if you want to dehydrate something more liquidy like a sauce. So I got 6 of those screens. I got 4 of those liners. So I have 8 trays total. So I can dehydrate more stuff at the same time. But, it's a compact one. And when I'm not using it, I have a bag that I keep 4 of the trays and the screens and the liners, the tray liners in. And then the other trays and the base, I turn the top of it upside down on top of some other things that I have on my counter. I got carafes that were originally donated to my mosque, and we were using them for tea and things like that, or the people brought them but just never claimed them, and they're going to get thrown away, so I ended up with them. I have them full of water on my counter. So I turned my dehydrator top upside down, then I stacked the 4 trays and then the base on top of that, and that's how I store the dehydrator when I'm not using it. Well, that might be a fun thing to experiment with. Well, and folks, I think Shadow has enough coffee. He would be able to read that. I think he's awake enough to read that. Yeah, there is 1 hour difference between shadow and impulse, so yeah. I'm going to go ahead and knock off as well. So I do want to thank everyone who dropped in, no matter what time they came in. I just wish Courtney would have been here to see her suggestion get fulfilled, and I wish Dave of Burger Butt and Burger Butt wouldn't have been able to see me try that chocolate covered brownie, but I'm sure they will both catch the replay, or at least part of it. But I do want to thank you all for watching. I hope this one was a bit enjoyable and maybe give someone ideas on what they can do if they get into a bunch of rations and wonder what they can do to make them a bit interesting. And of course, my ration mashups, also the same idea. So again, I do want to thank you all for hanging out with me tonight. So next week, it's into the other ICIR, the newer one, the fishy one. So do come back, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central. So again, thanks for watching, and catch you on the flip side.